everybody? It's Tyler here at the Northeast Wisconsin Signature event, checking in with 24118E, Broken Zip Ties coming in from Minnesota. This team perennial playoff contenders this year and looking really good so far as we're filming this as well too. Great robot overall. I love the design that's going into this. Take a look as we get into. They have a unique little paddle that they use for their Lady Brown to keep that ring locked in as well too. So I can't wait to dive more into that. That just got added recently. But of course, we'll be covering some other great areas from their intake, overall design, strategy, and a lot more. So let's learn more about Broken Zip Ties coming up here on Pits and Parts. Ty, let's start off on the intake on this robot here. I'd love to hear more about some of the iterations you've gone through and of course how it functions as well.
So over the course of the season, we've always had we had a hood/hook combo, and we kind of kept a similar design on this robot where we have two sets of flex wheels. This one's moving at 800 RPM and this one's moving at 400. And this helps us get a really smooth transition up our intake ramp and into the hook stage. And we do have a chain tensioner here. We had problems with the chain falling off, so we did add that on. We use 1.5 motors, so 5.5 watt and 11 watts. And we have them inside of the robot. There's an 11 watt right here and a 5.5 watt here. And we have to gear this one multiply by 3 to get equal RPM on the intake there. So this is moving at 600 RPM. And then we have a 75% reduction to this stage. So this is at 400 and this is at 800 again. And then to keep the rings in, to make it transition also work well, we have these plastic strips here that kind of stop the ring at the perfect time so the hooks can grab it and put it on the goal.
For your team on here, obviously flex wheels have been very common now. We're seeing amongst intakes. Has your team had that throughout the entire season, or what other maybe designs that you have earlier on?
Yeah, we did flex wheels on our last robot, and they've been working really well. We actually switched to 45A flex wheels on this robot compared to 30As on the last robot. And the reason is because they don't squish as much, and we've found that intaking can be more consistent with them. And they get dirty less easily. Sure.
Brecken, let's talk about the Lady Brown mech, specifically though this paddle that you've added onto it. I'd love to just hear more about that. I got to see it on the field, looked really cool on the whole way that it came together. So let's demonstrate it. Talk to me about how you came up with it.
Yeah, so when we heard that this new 30-second ending was going to be in there, so 30 seconds, obviously, you have to be out of this corner. And so what are you going to do? What's left on the field? Those wall stakes especially. So it's wall stakes and hang, but we really wanted to focus on that scoring element of the wall stakes. We knew that'd be super competitive, and one way we've used in the past to block those is just by sitting parallel to the wall. But in this case, we want to be able to score that final ring on there, get that extra point, or get that final top ring on there as well. And so one of the ways we want to do this is not have a ring fall out. We notice with a lot of Lady Brown mechs, those rings, as soon as they go up, if they sit there for too long or they get bumped, that ring is falling out at the bottom right away. And so we wanted a way to be able to sit there and have defense played on us and not lose that ability to score from that ring and have to leave that scoring opportunity by sitting by the wall stake. It runs off a piston connected to a piece of L channel. It's got just a little piece of poly there as a paddle, the ABS poly, and it actuates at a certain angle. So once the rotation sensor here hits 31 degrees from the origin, it'll automatically flip that, and so that'll have it ready. It pushes that ring into the exact same position every time, no matter what, so that it's in the same spot, and we make sure that it's all ready to go and perfectly set to get on that wall stake.
In terms of the actual paddle itself, on how much compression you're using, or not even that, just how much pressure is against it, how'd you come up with this was the right solution for exactly what you were doing?
So it's just a single acting piston, first of all, that's rubber banded down. And we just kind of attached this on here with a pillow bearing on the side and L channel. And we kind of tuned this height here so we could get this to the exact height that we need to. And also, we made it at the right angle that we can bring this all the way down and still be within the 24 inches to do a line stake too.
Makes sense. One other thing I want to ask you about, Brecken, is some of your other match strategies you've gone through. How has that evolved, and have you noticed any changes, especially with that 30-second rule, other than wall stakes? We mentioned that, but how has it evolved overall here in Northeast Wisconsin?
Yeah, so here especially, just getting into those first matches and seeing that final 30 seconds happening, that's something new. We haven't played in a match like that before. We haven't run any scrims with it either. So it was really interesting to see what other teams would do, especially, and how we were able to react with that. We noticed that a lot of teams were able to go for those wall stakes, and we decided that it might be a good time for us to be able to hang as well. We have a pretty quick hang here, and so moving with that 30 seconds, having the ability to get to that wall stake and still have time to quick run over to the hang and get that off has been just a game changer for us.
And Ty, let's talk about that hang a little bit more. You're running, it's kind of like a passive hang, but you got to actuate it first to get there, right? So talk to me about what you have.
So we just have a passive hang here. It's 2 C channels with a C channel brace across. And we have these pulleys that are kind of like at an angle here that are at the perfect height. So when we drive over the bar, we get perfectly elevated. We mostly use this in skills, but if we have time in matches, we use it like in our last match. This is controlled with a single acting piston that's connected right off the robot here. And we have this polycarbonate bracket that holds down a standoff on here. And all we have to do is code it in as a macro, so if we press one button, this will come up to the right height to balance for hanging, and the hang will pop up like that. And now we'd be at the right height to hang on the bar like that.
And Ty, now that you've been able to play a few matches with the 30-second rule now being changed, are you looking at any major changes for future events for your team?
I think we might try to make a double 80 round just to score wall stakes faster. But otherwise, I think we're going to keep the Tier 1 hang for at least state, maybe go higher at Worlds. But for now, I think we like how the robots turned out.
Well, Broken Zip Ties, you've had a great performance here so far. Really, all your events, you've been seating quite high, so we can't wait to see, hopefully, a deep playoff run here for you. We wish you best of luck, and thanks for telling us more about this and some of the cool iterations and innovations you've been doing as well. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.